1950 was when the plant, the Gateshead Mill, first went into production. And they needed staff, key staff. The only way they could do it was to advertise in the flour milling papers. Well, I was working in a small mill in Ireland. And after I got used to working in it, I became a little ambitious and thought I would seek a bit of promotion and more experience. So after a lot of consideration, I decided to take the chance and to come to Gateshead.
When I first moved over to Gateshead, it was such a cultural shock from what I had been used to when I was living in Ireland, in a total agricultural environment, to come across to the industrial society on Tyneside. It was a tremendous shock. So much so is that for the first 9 to 12 months, my case was always more than half packed for the return journey.
When I came to Gateshead, I was a Silksman. That was in charge of the floor of machines. And we had to record the hourly production and take samples of the flour to make sure it was up to specification. And if anything happened to the machines, we would have to put it right, such as belt snapping and things, spouts becoming blocked and things like that.
I started as a cleaner in a holiday relief in various jobs. Then they put us up on a top sailor, and that's where I remained till I actually left.
It was fairly dusty up there.
Oh, it was very, very, very dusty.
I once went up. It took me up. I shouldn't have been up because I knew he worked there, and you could hardly see. It was just like like working in a haze. You could draw a pattern on his face because it was that dusty. You know, you could actually draw on your face, couldn't you?
We used to have every window open upstairs in winter, summer. On the top sailor, you could see everybody. You know what I mean? It was
pretty much everybody.
Whoever has been up there, you know, seeing through all the windows, you could see everything what was happening at the mill, more or less. You know what I mean? And can't say we didn't like, but we did look at the other women.
I worked in the quality control lab, and I mean, even though you were laboratory, you were cast as the staff, the lads used to just come in with their samples, and they would stand sometimes for half hour, you know, and you couldn't get rid of them. But a lot of them used to come over to see because there was young girls in there, you know, and try to chat the staff up, like, you know. But I mean, I was married; I didn't have anything to do with that at all.
When if we were finishing together, we used to meet outside after I clocked out, because Pam didn't have to clock out because she was staff. And then we'd walk up. It was 2 ways we'd walk up. We'd walk along the bottom road, or we'd walk straight up and cut along.
Because them days, not everybody had cars. You know, you couldn't afford a car. Everybody used the transport then, and it was good, the transport.
So I mean, there was even then, like, you know what I mean, when you were walking home, you had this banter, you know, amongst yourselves, friendly banter amongst, when you were saying it was good night, Pam, and I mean, even the bosses would say, "Ta-ra, Pam," or "Ta-ra, Jimmy," and
it was just a very friendly place, a nice atmosphere to work in.
I was the management secretary. I should say the biggest responsibility was enjoying the confidence of each of the men with whom I worked. I was completely in their confidence, which of course meant dealing with all their private correspondence, customers coming, directors coming, administration of all the offices, the staff. But I still rank being in their confidence is one of the biggest compliments I've ever had paid to me. It was one of my jobs to carry out the director's instructions and to inform the mill people that the Union flag had to fly on royal birthdays, on St. George's Day, on any occasion when royalty was visiting the area. It had to fly from dawn till sunset, but it must always be lowered at sunset.
I first started Runks Mill in March 1955. I started there as a driver's mate, and on my first day I was delivering the emblems of City Road at Newcastle. My job was there was 2 wagons, and my job then was to hook all the bags onto the wagons, and they were pulled up by the hoist. That took us all morning, and we got back at dinner time, had our dinners, and I was loading wagons all afternoon. That was my first day at Runks. We used to deliver bags of flour at the time, like 10-stone bags. You used to get them down the chute, and you used to stand the bags up, and you used to get them on your shoulder, like over your shoulder like that, and you used to walk to the front of the wagon and put them down. There used to be a gate over there, and you used to come in the gate, and you used to load up at the warehouse in there. Sometimes you come along South Shore Road, sometimes you used to come down the mill bank and straight into the gate. I always like driving. It's very good, I like driving very much. Oh, I would sooner be working there. Well, no, I'm retired now, but I would sooner be working there now. My grandfather, he used to work at the Baltic Mill. He got me an interview with the manager, Mr. Mason. So I went down, and it was more or less start the next day. My job was as a cleaner, started as a cleaner on day shift. And the tools of the trade were a sweeping brush, a small hand brush, and what was called an oily rag. And the object was to get the floor cleaned up before 5 o'clock. Of course, everything was brand spanking new, glistening really, and suddenly at about 4:45 you could get a breakdown, and that would put the floor back to square one. So you went home feeling a little bit frustrated that all your good work was down the drain. When I first started in the mill, the noise was very distinctive. Of course, with not being used to it, it seemed very loud. It was more or less a continuous rumble or drone all the time, and if anything went wrong, if one particular machine on the floor broke down, you sensed something was wrong because of the change in the tone of the noise. That was taken on the day the mill closed. We all got together at the door. I suppose there was like a slight conviviality, carnival atmosphere amongst the sadness. And of course, after the photograph was taken, it was just a matter of shaking hands and saying goodbye to old colleagues.
I came down to work as a resident engineer. Now, it's very, very interesting for me to come back after 50 years and see a drawing that I prepared in the office, and to see that these are still existing. These existing drawings of the original building are quite historical, I would say. This is an architect's plan of the silo showing the external walls and the receiving house, which was alongside the river, which was here. It should have been done in, theoretically, 45 days, which was incredible. To complete a structure like that in 45 days, that was the theory. Unfortunately, there were snags. So instead of the job taking about 45, 50 days, it seemed to take most of the summer. Well, it's quite an experience, really, to see it coming down, having watched it go up. And when it went up, it was there for life. It was one thought it was there for generations, and to see that part of it coming down now is quite interesting. But it's also very exciting to realise that the building is being retained and made use of.